Good evening and welcome to the SpeakerMC Show, where it's all about relationships. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Marcia Chambers and I'm your host for this evening. If you're new to the show, let me just give you some background information. We are 60 minutes of non-scripted, free-flowing conversation with me and two guests. Yes. And we're going to explore a specific topic on 3 different levels. First level, what is the current relationship problem and how can we identify it? Second level, we're going to break it apart and discover the real root of the issue. And then third, we're going to offer some tips and possible solutions to resolve this issue. Fair enough? All right. So the conversation today, let me just switch my slides here for you. The conversation that we're going to talk about today is focus. Yes, focus, the cure for the anemic relationship. And I thought that this little picture was so becoming. I really love the fact that it's one day someone's going to hug you so tight that all of your broken pieces just fit right back together. It sounds so romantic. And I know there's so many people who are missing that romance in their life. And part of the reason is because they're not being focused on their relationship. You know what I mean? But before we even go into the topic, I wanted to explain to you that there's a trifecta here. The benefit for you, the audience, is education and empower you with the information that creates these harmonious environments. And it also boosts your self-confidence. And the other thing for our guests, it's to share the opportunity to broadcast their business into another circle of influence, to widen their footprint, if you will. And then for everybody, including myself, it's to have fun. Fun, fun, fun. So I encourage you to put your questions and your answers or your comments on the chat box. The chat box that's shown in the corner here. Let me just bring it up.
Yeah, I can see all the women.
Yes, here's the chat box. So if you have any questions or comments, just post them there and we'll deal with them towards the end of the show. So as I said, tonight's topic is Focus RX, the cure for the anemic relationship. Let me just forward this back, dial it back. We're going to expose the problem. We're going to see where it shows up, and we are going to pose some solutions. So right now, let's just meet our guests. I think there's someone on the line that has some, I need to mute somebody. Maybe I'll mute. There's some background noise. Do you hear the background noise?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll try and mute that person. But okay, so while we do that, let's introduce our first guest. Our first guest is a licensed marriage and family therapist. She's from the California Bay Area, and she supports visionary women, couples, and family units of all kinds in creating their life more on their terms. She says, "My job is to help you remember what is already inside of you. Our bodies are one way to access this inner wisdom, and my work encourages us to explore and celebrate what your body has to teach you about your innate capacities for growth, transformation, and visionary action." Please put your hands together and help me welcome Miss Sonya Brewer. Welcome to the SpeakerMC Show, Sonya.
Hi, Marcia. Wow, what a welcome. That's incredible. Thank you.
Really?
Happy to have you. Yes.
Yes.
And as I mentioned, we have 2 guests. So our next guest is a certified relationship coach. She is out of the Austin, Texas area. Woo! Her name is Barbara Ann Williams, and Barbara's mission is transforming lives of individuals to empower their relationships, because that's where it happens first. She's a speaker, a writer, a facilitator, a certified relationship coach, and the founder and CEO of Win-Win Relationships. Please put your hands together and welcome Barbara Ann Williams. Hi, Barbara.
Hey.
So nice to have you both here tonight. Oh my goodness. I have been anticipating this with bated breath. And
yes.
You might be wondering, who is this excitable lady right here? Well, my name is Marcia Chambers, and I am your host for this evening. I am a speaker and consultant, and I'm also an online TV personality, host, producer of two shows, this being one of them, the SpeakerMC Show, which airs Monday nights at 9 p.m., alternate Mondays, and Swell, SWELL, Happy Half, which is featured on the second Wednesday of every month at 8 p.m. Eastern. And you might be wondering, what the hell is SWELL? Well, SWELL for women is sexual wellness and empowered living lifestyles for women, where any woman can gain confidence in and out of the bedroom by using the 7 pillars of SWELL for women, because it reclaims her inner power to be sensual and unleashes her inner sexual goddess. Yes, that's what we do. That's how we roll. So that's who I am. And welcome to you all. Welcome everyone to the show this evening. Like I said, if you have any questions, there's a chat box. Please do not refrain from putting your questions, your comments in there, because we love this to be a very engaging show. And stay tuned to the end so that you can receive a special offer. Yay! See, gifts all around. Love languages unfolding. Yes, absolutely. Before we start the show, I like to have a little commercial. And this commercial, I wanted to honor a friend of mine who was so helpful with, helping me with some training that I had to do. He's in my mastermind group. And I told him, I said, listen, you know, I am going to honor you because what you did was just stupendous. So his name is Andy Ryan, and he's a real cool guy. And he just started a free 5-day training on being intentional with your time and being focused to be more productive. He's calling it Time Reclamation Experiment. Get 7 more hours in your week, and it started today. Oh my gosh, he started it today. So the free online training is available for entrepreneurial men, and it's the millennials, yes, 20s and 30s, not for us, not women. But, you know, that's fine for now. Every business evolves. And if you're interested in joining, visit his website at www.newdiscomedia.com/time reclamation experiment. That's newdiscomedia.com/time reclamation experiment. And you'll still have a chance to catch up on today's training and follow along with the rest of the week with the gang. So remember, www.newdiscomedia.com/time reclamation experiment. Yay! All right. So now let's get back to our show. We want to know, excuse me, what is this problem that we're talking about? We're talking about today how people tend to multitask their life away, thinking that they're being so efficient when in actuality they aren't. They'll drive and they're texting, boom, car accident. They're walking and they're texting, boom, they're bumping into people. And they're having a conversation, couples, whether it's married or just, you know, in a committed relationship, and they're having a heated, well, not necessarily heated, but an important conversation. And somebody said, oh, wait, let me check my emails. Really? 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 So that's what we're talking about today. What is the definition, first and foremost? Let's start there with multitasking. We all know that it's dealing with more than one task at the same time. And we're not talking about IT. You know, we're technically challenged already. We're not talking about preemptive and cooperative multitasking. Somebody asked me that today. Oh, what do you mean, preemptive? I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? No, we're not talking about it. We're talking about relationships. We're talking about combining two different tasks, a visual and audio, or a visual, you know, and I just gave the examples. So do you ladies want to add some spice to that drama? Like, what is it? Where does it show up? How do you see these people multitasking that they think they're being efficient and they really are not?
Well, sometimes people think that they're so good at what they're doing, you know, that it doesn't interfere with anything else. Mm-hmm. I might be talking, for example, let's use you and I. We might be having a conversation with one another, and I might think that I am so good at multitasking that I'd be texting, you know, and doing other stuff, or trying to read something, or way over here doing something else. And you're like, hey, Barbara, can I have your attention right here in front of me? And because someone feels that they are good at multitasking, they don't think that it's a problem for them. You see it as a problem for me because I'm the one who's doing the multitasking. You're the one who's needing the attention. And because you're getting it the way you want it, it becomes a problem for you. So you have to, in turn, be able to help me see that I'm causing our relationship to be a problem from my not giving you the attention that you want at that particular time.
You want to chime in, Sonya?
Yeah, you know, I see a lot of couples who it's not even one person's fault. Like, they're just all so busy. You know, everybody's trying to make a living, you know, and then you throw kids in the mix, and, you know, it feels like some level of multitasking is, it feels necessary for a lot of folks. And so, you know, one of the things that I really encourage couples to do is to carve out intentional time for their relationships and stop waiting for sort of that spontaneous burst of passion or that spontaneous burst of connection, because in fact, the way most people's lives are structured, there's no space for spontaneous. You actually have to carve it out. A lot of people really want that level of connection. And if their jobs are really intensive and they have a lot of responsibilities, it can feel really scary to unplug.
But at what point does it really, at what point does it borderline being rude? I mean, at some point, if you and someone are in sharing space, let's say, for example, you're out to dinner, and as business owners, you know, we know that there are important things that are going on. But like you say, you have to carve out the time. But who is more important? I was taught that etiquette, the person in front of you trumps the person on the mechanical thing, you know, the phone or the device. So I'm saying that to say common sense should say, well, you know, I'm spending time with this person, especially how people are dropping out like flies these days. This one died, that one died, you know, and you have to be appreciative of that person's time at the time. And when does it just become outright rude? You know, I'm here talking to you and I can't get 5 minutes of your time. Like, seriously? You can't disconnect from that other thing to connect with me?
I really am careful about the notion of common sense because, you know, I'm not saying it to be funny. I'm serious. You know, we have different ideas, different expectations about how we'll move, right, through the world. And so I really am in favor of conversations. You know, for an established couple, I really encourage them to have rules like, you know, no cell phones at the dinner table. Just put it away. But when you're just meeting someone, you don't know what their situation is, right? It could be that they're on call. They have to be available to look at their phone. But hopefully they'll say that in the beginning. I'm sorry, I'm on call. My phone has to be out. And if you don't know, I say ask, could you put your phone away? Or,
right.
Is it necessary to do that right now? Or, have some kind of conversation about it.
I agree. Barbara, you want to say anything about that?
Yeah, I agree with the same thing. When it happens, if you differ in that, then that's something to let you know you keep going. That's not the right relationship for you. And if you're in the relationship and this is going on, it doesn't just happen overnight. Somewhere you missed a little cues, a little warning signs of something slowly happening and showing up. So if we're talking about a new relationship or getting to know each other as opposed to an ongoing relationship where you know one another, that's going to be two different situations and scenarios that we'd set up. But if this is a couple who's been together and they know each other, they know how important it is for the other one for you to give your undivided attention, and you're not providing it, something's off because you had it before.
Well, without getting too far off the topic, I just wanted to touch back to what you said, that this doesn't happen overnight, that there are these warning calls. What are some of these warning calls? Because maybe some people are just so oblivious. They're so attached to their device that they don't even realize this has been happening for quite some time. What are some of the clues that you could share with people?
Those clues could be different for each couple. For example, anything that you notice about your significant other or your partner, anything you notice that they do on a regular basis, and all of a sudden they're not doing it, take note, pay attention. And so often we ignore those little warning signs. Something's off, something's going on. I don't know exactly what it is, can't put my hand on it, but something's different. And so that could be different for each couple, but just pay attention to things when they change or when things are different.
When they change suddenly, because we are creatures of habit, right?
Yes.
Well, and also sometimes people start to change together. I was just talking to someone the other day about, they used to have dinner at the table, and now they've sort of gradually gotten into the habit of having dinner in front of the TV on the couch. There's some implicit agreement between them that that's what they're going to do, but it was actually not serving their relationship. Right? There was something about that time together at the dinner table where there was no media between them, right? It invites a different kind of connection. And so even if it seems like you're on the same page, I think it's worth doing a check-in occasionally to go, oh, wait a minute, is how we're doing this really working for us?
Open up the lines of communication.
That's right.
It's funny you said about the couple moving from the dinner table to the TV, because I thought I read somewhere that is also a trigger for people overeating. This distractive ADD focus. They're focusing on the TV so much that they're mindlessly eating and just putting food and before you know it, they can't fit on the couch anymore. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, you don't want to talk about that. Okay, let's move on.
I'm just gonna leave that one alone, Marcia.
But think about it. You don't just move from the table to the couch. If we're at the dinner table having dinner on Sunday, and Monday we're at the couch, automatically something's off because you've had it at the table forever. All of a sudden, how did we both get at the couch? How did we both end up at the couch? There was a conversation. There was something. So I'm just saying, pay attention to the subtle little differences, because when it happens, you have to be able to ask, I noticed you're doing this different, or you didn't used to do that. You don't like that anymore, or
Barbara?
What's different for you, and not to attack the other person about their being different, but what you notice about you. I've been sensing, or I've noticed, or and just share what's happening with you, and then the other person, it gives them the opportunity to share what's happening with them or what their observations have been.
It's so funny. It's so funny you said to ask. How many of us are scared to even ask? People are in relationships and are scared to open their mouths about simple little things.
All kinds of things. That's right. Yeah.
So sad. So
and
sad.
I also think that there's this place where we can get into over processing. So sometimes you notice something has changed, and then rather than trying to get all up into the nitty gritty, sometimes it's nice just to be an invitation for something new. We've been sitting on the couch. We've gotten into that habit. Tonight, I'm going to set the table, and I'm going to put some flowers and some candles, and I'm going to invite my sweetie pie to the table. Make it delicious, right? Make it attractive. It doesn't all have to come from that place of complaint or processing. It can just be like, we decide to pivot the way we're approaching one another.
But it still boils down to the communication.
Yeah.
What you said?
That's different. You set that up. When you're wanting to do something different, and so when he comes in and he sees, oh wow, there's candles in the living room, and you got things. Oh, I like this, and you can easily flow with that. But from the conversation earlier, I'm like we didn't just get from the table to the couch.
That's right.
Get there, and that's what happens in relationships. We just end up, from one end to the other, and you're like, how did we get here? I've seen people who've gone from having a good relationship to at the courthouse. And themselves when they get there, how did we get here? And so, how do we get from the table to the couch?
Well, let's expound on that. Where does it show up? How do we get here? Because all too familiar, many people are in these relationships and they're just floating along like zombies, because everything else takes precedence. Everything else is important and takes priority because they feel too comfortable. They're so comfortable that they forget to check in. They're so comfortable that they forget to be adventurous. They're so comfortable that they're just going along, and before you know it, it's 20 years down the road, and then they're in the courthouse. And you say, well, damn, you've been married for 20 years. How'd you get here? How do they get here? Without picking up the little warning signs, how else do they get here?
Well, I don't think that it's true that folks are comfortable and that they're not picking up warning signs. I think that people are often very uncomfortable, or there are all kinds of warning signs, but it's too scary to talk about it. Or maybe they have been talking about it or fighting about it and not making any progress, right? So, I meet a lot of couples who, particularly in that 15-year range, who, there's resentment, there's, I've just given up. I used to try to talk to him or her about it, and I just gave up, because it didn't seem to make a difference. So that's why I really suggest to couples that when they start to hit those places, that they actually go ahead and get some support. Don't wait until you done already filed the divorce papers to go get some help, right? Like,
there's too late.
Yes,
a lot too late.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You were finished.
I mean, no, I have more to say, but I could go off about this, so I'm going to leave some room.
No, please go off, because it's so funny that you say, it's not funny, but for lack of a better colloquial term, that you say that they just are scared to acknowledge what's in front of them. And people, like I said, people are in relationships, and like you say, they're not comfortable, they're uncomfortable, but they don't know how to do anything about their discomfort. Right. So I guess that's the other side of the spectrum. Barbara, you want to throw anything into the mix?
I just think it's so. I just think it's so odd that couples notice differences. You know there's something different that's going on with you, within you, or something different is going on with the other person. And if you're afraid to talk, if you're afraid to bring it up, it doesn't get better from there. It only gets worse. You only grow further and further apart. You don't come together by not talking. So you got to start there and make the conversation not confrontational, but make the conversation easy enough where you're talking about your thoughts and how you perceive things and how you're feeling rather than attacking. Don't start with the you statement, which is to attack, blame, criticize, and condemn, but come back to you and says, I've noticed or I've been feeling. And so it gives them the opportunity to say, yeah, I noticed that. It opens up that warm space of having the conversation without thinking that, we're in for it tonight. So you've got to be able to, if you notice, somebody notices something, unless we just got two blind folks, somebody knows something is going on. You know it within yourself or you notice it within the relationship. So at some point, somebody has to have a conversation about what you're noticing, be it with yourself or the relationship.
And just piggybacking on what you said, because if you don't speak up about it, then it starts to create resentment and it starts to create distrust, wondering, because guys are more insecure than women. That much I know. And the slightest little thing will say, oh, well, where'd she get that from? Why is she doing that? Creatures of habit, you do something out of the norm and there's no communication about it. To say, well, I noticed this, or I noticed that, or I feel this way, or I feel that way about it, because you're either too scared to talk about it, or you feel that you won't be heard, or whatever it is. And then it just festers, it festers. And then you start to get these weird thoughts like, oh, I wonder where she got that from, or I wonder where he got that from. And you start thinking crazy, it just spins out of control.
Yeah, I don't have the experience that guys are more insecure than women. I've seen my fair share of insecure people across the spectrum. But I do think it's true that sometimes men can struggle with that emotional communication. If they haven't been trained or, had the experience of getting to share at that level, or they grew up in families where being a man was being kind of the strong, silent type, or, that can be a barrier. Because I often see women are talking, they are saying something's happening. What's happening, right? But, the guys are kind of like, I said it's fine. Leave me alone, So it's also a skill set to begin as a couple to learn how to communicate about those emotional issues. And, it just starts with, like Barbara is talking about, beginning to share your internal experience from your own perspective, right? And being careful not to make it about criticism or attacking or blaming or shaming, but really coming forward with the vulnerable parts of your experience.
And that's really what makes the relationship go deeper.
It is. The intimacy, the intimate connection. Yeah. And people just don't realize that. They just don't realize that. Some people. I'm not saying all people.
Well, I think a lot of people are longing for it, but they may not know how to get there.
Yeah. Swell for women. Shameless plug.
Yes. That's right.
Oh my gosh. So I had wanted to bring up this quote by this Dr. Guy Winch. He is the author of Emotional First Aid, Practical Strategies for Treating Failure, Rejection, Guilt, and Other Everyday Psychological Injuries. He says that when it comes to attention and productivity, our brains have a finite amount. It's like a pie chart, and whatever we're working on takes up the majority of the pie. And there's not a lot left over for other things except the automatic behaviors like walking and chewing gum. So he says moving back and forth between several tasks actually wastes productivity. He says because your attention is expended on the act of switching gears, plus you never get fully in the zone for either activity. Yeah. How can we relate this to couples? Anybody want to chime in?
Yeah. Barbara, you have something, or you want me to?
You go for it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is the thing that I was saying about really carving out time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the things that I think really gets people into trouble, for example, let's talk about sex, because, you know, that's my favorite topic, right? So, you know, people will be like doing the dishes, folding the laundry, putting the kids to bed, and then, you know, try to switch to have sex, right? And one partner will be like, my brain is not right there, right? I just wash dishes, you know, whatever. And then the person who initiated will be rejected. How could you not want me? Mm-hmm. You know, a whole story gets created. But the reality is that particularly women, you know, for most women, that desire is not a spontaneous experience, right? We actually need the context to create the opening, right, for arousal to occur. And so I really encourage couples to carve out special time. This idea that you can just go from one thing to another, or, you know, be doing your work project and now it's on. Like, that's just not how it works for most women. Some women, yes, but not for most. And I think it's important to just go, okay, now is us time. I'm going to really, you know, we're going to focus on one another, focus on creating a context that's sensuous and delightful and, you know, leaves room for us to really connect in a deep, meaningful way.
Okay. So it takes time for us to warm up. Guys, yes. They're hard at the blow of the wind. The wind blows, whoop, I'm ready, you know.
Well, there are also guys for whom that's not true, right? There's plenty of guys who also need context to be right. You know, I've known plenty of people who say, you know, I have known plenty of people who will say things like, you know, kids in the next room is just not going to happen for me right now, you know, or whatever.
A guy?
So, right, I don't make any assumptions. I encourage couples to get clear between them on what their needs are. Mm-hmm. Right. So, you know, if he has really easy access to that feeling and she doesn't, then there has to be some way to hold that she needs more buildup. Right. Or vice versa. You know, if they're both, you know, ready at the same time, it doesn't always happen that way, but great, you know. But most couples need to get on the same page about what their needs are to feel more connected. And there's often differences. That's normal.
Well, one of our viewers agrees with you. He says, hell yeah, kids are a definite distraction during sex time. Whoa, what about the pets? Oh, okay, let's not go there.
Hey, the damn kids.
Same way. Oh, Andy says, don't mind the dog, huh? You mind the kids, but not the dog.
Oh.
But sometimes those animals can just stare at you and look at
I know.
That's not right. Y'all are killing me.
Bad as a kid.
Wow.
Especially the cat.
Yeah.
The cat just sits there like, what are y'all doing?
Wow.
I'm just scared of cats.
See?
Not scared. I'm allergic to them, so I stay away from them. But they're some scary animals. Get all into it. Oh my God.
You know, along the lines of getting to having the relationship you want, including the intimacy that you want, the sex and all, how often, and all that goes with that, there has to be, again, a conversation about, you know, what your interests are. because you want both of you to be accommodated.
That's right.
You got to talk about that so that it's not all about you.
Right.
It's about your partner as well. So
Right.
when you're sharing that, you set the stage for it. If you know all day long at work, you've been horny and you coming home in the evening and you know you want to have a passionate evening with your partner, then you need to do some things to set that up. So
Yes.
setting that up could be something so simple as sending a text to your spouse. Send them a text.
A sext.
Work.
A sex text.
Stop and take out the time to give a call and say, hey, I'm thinking about you, or have some flowers delivered. There's so many things that you can do. If you know your partner, you know what turns them on. You know how to set the stage, set the mood, set the tone for what you're desiring to have. So if you know this is what you want, you have to be the one to take that responsibility for setting it up. You know, it's like the couple is going to be going out for a date. Who has to get the babysitter? Who has to make all the arrangements? Who has to get everything done? That shouldn't just be on one person. That's a couple responsibility, but it's also the person who's wanting that outcome. So if you know you want the outcome, set the stage, the tone, the environment, get it set up. And so chances are things might go your way.
So you're saying take the initiative.
Yeah.
Take the initiative, but also make sure that you are not assuming that what works for you is actually what works for your partner. I know it seems like partners should already know, what the right context is, but sometimes they have been operating on so many assumptions that they actually don't know. I mean, I work with women around sexuality all the time, and a lot of women are orienting sexually to what their partners want, but they haven't actually taken the time to know what would really be the ideal context for them to kind of unfold into, right? And so there's sort of the number of women that I talk to or who sort of treat sex like a chore or an obligation, or, I guess it's been a week, I guess I should, that kind of energy. I mean, it's kind of staggering, and it's because we don't get encouraged in this culture to get in touch with our sexuality and treat it as something that's for us, that's nourishing for us, that's good for us, that feeds us. And so, if we decide that we're really going to take that on, then it means learning more about what is going to help us open. Right. And so sometimes for some people, it's like you're talking about the flowers, the text, those romantic gestures. For some people, it's quality time, like they really just need to feel close, to their person. For some people, it's more explicitly erotic. They actually need, to turn up the heat in a very explicit way, So I think it's kind of an adventure, to start to learn about one another. Even if you think and figure out what's gonna wake things up.
I'm so happy that you touched on those two aspects. I think for the main that we've been talking about is communication, that we need to start communication, opening up the lines of communication. You should not ask ume, as I always say, assume. So it's funny that you touched on the love languages. My love languages are different than my partner's love languages, but many people are in relationships and don't even know what languages they speak.
Right.
Matter of fact, I have that on my website, so you guys can go and take the quiz, marciachambers.com. The love languages, the love languages, as Sonya said, they're quality time, they are physical touch, they're words of affirmation, they're gifts, my all-time favorite, and something else I missed, acts of kindness. So some people might be more driven to
acts of service.
Acts of service. They might be more driven to, oh, I love you, I love you, I love you, the words of affirmation. Whilst other people might be saying, well, why don't you take out the garbage then? You love me so much, take out the garbage, or go clean the house, So you got to know what your partner's language is, so that you can even delve with that more, that tighter connection, you know? So when you open up those lines of communication, you know that you're being heard because you know how to communicate with your partner. So a lot of people are in these relationships and they don't even know how to communicate with their partner because they don't know what tickles their partner's fancy. They don't even know what tickles their own fancy. You know.
That's the issue right there, Marcia.
Yeah.
That's the issue right there. Not so much about your partner as much as it is about you. Because we teach people how to treat us.
Yes.
And so depending on how you communicate with yourself, depending on how you treat yourself, talk to yourself, you're going to do that same thing with somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
So
absolutely.
It starts with you. It starts with you. Get to know you. So before you can get to know somebody else, you got to know yourself, because you got to introduce yourself to them. You got to tell them what you like, you know, before you can ask them what they like, because they're going to ask you. You've got to know. So, you know, I think we have too many relationships. If people are scared to talk, if they're not having this conversation, if they're just all over the place, it sounds like we're talking about a lot of unhealthy relationships.
Yes.
And that being the case, you have to start back at home base, and that's with you. You know, and then you slowly add in another person in the equation. But you know, relationship is not 50-50. It's really not. You bring your all to the table. It's 100. It's the full percent. Bring all of you to the relationship, rather than you bring half and I'm giving you half. Half is still half. If you're not bringing all you to the table, but you got to know you.
And then when you bring half, you figure, okay, I'm bringing my half and you bring your half and we're making a whole. But in actuality, it's just like what you said. If half of your foot is in and the other half is out the door, then you're just waiting on any minute to just make a dash. You know, there's no commitment there. You have to be all in. I so appreciate that you said that. So let's see now. We have a couple minutes to talk about what the effects of this multitasking is. And my notes, I just wanted to bring to the table that besides the arguments and the friction and all that and the crazy thinking, it stresses you out. It causes you to overeat. I think we touched on that before. And the squirrel effect, you know, oh, look at that. What? Oh, look at that. You know, can't focus on anything because you're constantly distracted by everything. So that, I think, has a lot of effects on a relationship besides the communication as well. Anything else you guys want to throw in the pot before we go to commercial? No?
You know what they say when it comes to buying a home? Location.
Uh-huh.
Well, what we've been talking about with relationships is communication.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely
I
right.
like that.
Yeah, I like it too. You should bottle that and freeze it and label it and let's sell it, Barbara. You ready?
Like the air.
Oh my goodness, this has been so much fun. So now we're going to break for commercial. And I just wanted to bring to the table, we're going to pause for the cause because our next commercial is the SpeakerMC Show. Yep, the SpeakerMC Show, which is this show. And here we are. Are you a startup? Do you want to reach a global audience? Do you speak to entrepreneurs? The SpeakerMC Show can help. www.speakermc.com. We know social media and word of mouth are great tools, but if you want to try a different platform and get additional exposure and widen your marketing footprint, the SpeakerMC Show can help. www.speakermc.com. The SpeakerMC Show broadcasts live on alternate Monday nights at 9 p.m. And we discuss how we relate to ourselves, our environment, and to others. You want to spread the word about your business? Come to the SpeakerMC Show, where it's all about relationships. SpeakerMC Show, www.speakermc.com. Contact us. Yay! All right, now we are back. Our commercial is over. That was the SpeakerMC Show. So now, ladies, we have a couple minutes. Let's touch on some of the solutions. I think we kind of beat that horse to death. We spoke about communication, and we're going to franchise that and bottle it, right, Barbara? Know yourself. And when you're in a relationship, don't be afraid to speak out, because that, communication. Don't be afraid to speak out, because after a while, if you don't speak up and speak out about your feelings and how things affect you, then things are going to fester and they're going to rot, and then you're going to end up at the divorce court. So we don't want that.
And then also, right, and then also carving out intentional time. And that doesn't just mean your date nights or your weekends away. That even means your rituals for greeting each other, really pausing and looking each other's eyes and sort of saying, I'm so happy to see you, making sure that you have your bedtime rituals together and, your meal times, right? Like making sure that there are moments throughout your day that you're really connecting in an intentional way.
All right. I love that. Moments of connection. Yeah. I love it. Can we bottle that too? I love how that sounds. Okay, so we have some time. Ladies, it has been a blast. I want to know what you can tell our audiences about you that I haven't spoken about, and how they can connect with you, and what your free offer is for them. So who wants to go first?
I'll go.
Barbara, you're so quiet.
So again, my name is Sonya Brewer, and I'm the creator of Reclaiming Your Erotic Power, an Introduction to the Art of Sexual Freedom for Women. And, as we've been talking about in the show tonight, it's so important to deepen your connection with yourself, to thine own self be true, right? And so I invite people to visit my website, www.sonyabrewer.com, where you can download an audio, a meditation called Coming Home to Your Body. It's a great way to get in touch with yourself, your intentions, and really slow yourself down enough so that you can connect not only with yourself but with your partner in a deep way. Okay, all right. And what area are you located? I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Okay, San Francisco
in California.
Bay Area. Mm-hmm. All right. Okay, I love it, love it, love it. And Barbara.
I'm Barbara Williams, Barbara Ann Williams, and I am in the Austin, Texas area. And what I have, if you go to barbaraannwilliams.com, you'll be able to download the free gift that I have for you, 9 Secrets for a Deeper Relationship. So often with couples, they're looking for this fantastic relationship, but they don't know one another as well. And it starts with you and yourself. So we don't want that superficial, that mundane, dull, day-to-day, same old relationship. You want one that's going to take you deeper. And in order for you to do that, you really have to not just get to know the other person, but get to know yourself. So what I developed was 9 Secrets for a Deeper Relationship. And with that, what you'll download, you'll get an outline of the 9 secrets. Then you'll have an audio that goes into each of those 9 secrets in detail, describing them. You'll have a worksheet to answer and go over in detail as you listen to the audio. And there's a colorful chart of all the 9 secrets, and nice for you to display or laminate. So I have all of that for you to download for free, just for going to barbaraannwilliams.com, welcoming you aboard. And then you'll still have the opportunity to connect with me for a conversation about what you learned, what you picked up, and what you got from the 9 secrets. And if I could help you further from that, then I'd be happy to discuss some options there.
All right. Yes. Love it. Love it. Love it. From California to Texas, we're just all over the place here tonight. I love it. I love it. So for Sonya, I took the liberty of getting this information. Sonya, you want to tell our audience about your upcoming event?
Sure. So yes, I have Reclaiming Your Erotic Power, starts actually April 8th. Mm-hmm. And I'm still taking applications for the group. So folks are welcome to contact me at sonyabrewer.com. And I also have regular introductory workshops for couples. So March 11th, I have a conscious communication strategies for radical couples. And following month, we'll be talking about the 3 keys to awakening desire for women. So thank you.
And they can get all this information at sonyabrewer.com.
That's right.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And for you, Barbara?
We have the Relationship Empowerment Workshop. That's actually held, holding it at the library, and we also have a teleclass doing the same thing. So we have the virtual group and we have the live group. So that one's going to be held on Sunday, this Sunday coming up, as a matter of fact, March 12th at the Georgetown Library. And also the information is there. Go to barbaraannwilliams.com and you'll be able to get additional information and reach out and contact me for questions if you have them.
Okay. And it's from 2 till 4?
Correct.
Okay. And that is Central Time?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. We have to keep the zones.
Zones.
Oh my gosh. So for me,
about 10 on your end now, huh?
Yeah, almost. So for me, Speaker MC, I have a few things going on here. On Wednesday, which is this Wednesday, I'll be interviewing the BDSM guru, Mr. Justin Sane, in a program called All Tied Up, Trusts and Bonds, exploring how trust has a lot to do with the BDSM and, some helpful parts of doing BDSM. On Wednesday, which is the 15th, I'll be hosting, which is next Wednesday, I'll be hosting an all-male review. All guys gonna answer all questions that women just want to know the answers to. Why do guys fill in the blank? So that's going to be awesome. And on the 22nd, I'll be hosting a free webinar, 7 Steps to Happy Love every day, every day, every day,
Every day.
every day, 7 steps. So watch out for these. Check my Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm all over the place. So just check it out. Yay. And as I said, the Speaker MC Show will present the Swell Happy Hour on the 15th of March, a panel of men. And Bob Marley, I love, love, love this saying by Bob Marley. Bob Marley is my brother from another mother. He says, the biggest coward of a man is to awaken the love of a woman without the intention of loving her. I think that is so deep. That is so, so deep. So yeah, for that show, the panel, you can register here at the bit.ly mail review, bit.ly, bit.ly mail review. Okay. And our next show on the Speaker MC Show is on March 20th. And that show is Woman to Woman. Yes, how women relate to each other, or how we just are so catty. That is so unfortunate, But strong women are often misperceived as cold and mean, simply because they refuse to be disrespected, mistreated, or taken for granted. Isn't that right?
Yep.
So, yes, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know, could you just repeat your free offers again for our audience so they can connect with you? You want to go first, Barbara? Your free offer?
Sure. 9 secrets for a deeper relationship. So if you want to have a a relationship that takes you past that superficial, mundane, day-to-day relationship where it's getting all stale, boring, dull, then contact me at barbaranwilliams.com and get your 9 secrets for a deeper relationship.
Okay. That's the free offer.
Yes. And this is
Sonya.
Yes, this is Sonya Brewer with guided meditation called Coming Home to Your Body. It's an opportunity for you to connect with yourself more deeply, awaken to your own needs and desires, and move into your day feeling connected to yourself and ready to meet the world. And that's at www.sonyabrewer.com.
Okay. All right. Yes. Now, ladies, I wanted to ask you a question. I'm coveting here for some testimonials. What was your experience like on the SpeakerMC Show today?
As always, Marcia. I just love talking to you. It's always so fun. You ask good questions, and I just feel delighted every time I get the chance to be in conversation with you. So that's just true. And it's good conversations. We need to be in these conversations about relationship, about sexuality, about intimacy. And I'm just glad that you're creating a space where we can do it freely.
Yes. Thank you. And it's always a pleasure, and I'm so always humbled when you're on my platform here. So thank you. And Miss Barbara Ann Williams.
Hey, when it comes to talking about relationships, I can go on and on and on. This has been a great opportunity to be able to do just that. Talk about relationships and what's going on in the different areas with relationships, and how can we get closer and get better and more connected. Have that deeper relationship. So it's been a pleasure being here with you, Marcia. Always up in light and
Yes.
person, So it's always pleasant to be around you.
Well, thank you. I'm also humbled and honored that you graced my stage here tonight. I love also speaking about relationships, and that's the reason why I developed Swell, because so many people are exchanging DNA and they are so miserable, and not because they want to be miserable, they want to have the deeper connection, but they just don't know how. So ladies, I love our collaborative efforts, and with us, we are powerful women, Mighty Mouse. Yes, and we're gonna do the darn thing. That's right. Do the darn thing. That's right. So I thank you all for coming here tonight. I think that I will close out the show, because people will not remember what you said, and people are not going to remember what you did, but people will always remember how you made them feel. Dr. Maya Angelou. So make someone feel good today, people. Give a smile and just have a fabulous day. And thank you for joining us. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.